Hi friends, welcome to the Yoga Still. My name is Chrissy. I am a yoga teacher. I am a Reiki healer. And today we are doing a tour of my favorite Oracle card decks. Today we're looking at the Threads of Fate deck. This is, I believe, the Threads of Fate on Instagram, threadsoffate.com. This deck is intense. I'm not going to lie. I think it is beautiful. I use it often, but I rarely use the guidebook because I think the guidebook can be a little bit overwhelming. So this is the opposite of some of the other decks we've looked at this week that come with no guidebooks. This comes with like, whoa, guidebook. So there's a lot going on with each card. We'll look in depth at the 3 cards that show up in our draw, but otherwise we'll just do a flip through. So this book, it's a beast. My one complaint about this book is the guidebook is really not in any order. You kind of have to figure out which section what the element is around the card and then find the card in that element. It's a challenge. The guidebook is a challenge to navigate. The other thing that's a challenge to navigate is getting the cards out of the box. And of course, the one time I go to complain about it, they come right out. That's really entertaining to me. Usually there's a card or two that get stuck underneath this little piece. So no complaints today. No complaints today. There are several versions of this deck as well, I believe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I feel like there are several, like this one has the gold embossing on it. I think there are different versions, but that's something I should have checked first. So just be aware that if you decide to order this deck, to do your homework, to check the different versions available and to make sure that you're getting the one that best suits your interest and your needs. So the back of the deck, I have these upside down. So the back of the deck has 2 moons. We have a dagger with 2 hands and some webs coming down off the dagger and around the fingers. So this deck has a lot going on. So we have the picture in the back. We have typically either a crystal or an animal or a flower, sometimes both, sometimes multiple. There's a lot going on in these cards. I think they're a deck that I would really need to study to use to its full potential. But I just really love it, and I think it's beautiful, and I think it goes really well with the Work Your Light cards and the Starseed Oracle and the Star Child Tarot. I think they all look so beautiful together. That's why I use these frequently, even though I am aware that I don't use them to their full potential and I don't understand them to their greatest purpose. It's kind of like my dad used to give me a hard time because, you know, my iPhone does so much and I basically only use it to take pictures and play around on Instagram and to listen to music. But there's so many other things it can do. And I'd be like, Dad, it does what I need it to do. And that's how I feel about this deck. I feel like there's a lot more power behind it than what I utilize, but it does what I use it for what I need, and I enjoy it for that. So we'll do a flip through. We start with the Magi. We have the lady here in the back with a spider and a crystal and a candle and a book. Fate with a golden egg. The Outlaw. I'm going to try to turn these so you can see the gold embossing on these. Sacred Destruction. Withdraw with the fox. Release These cards do also kind of stick together. Sacred sexuality. Death. Underworld. It's a beautiful card. Get curious. Reflect. Strength. I love this card too. Ancestors. This reminds me a lot of the connection card from the, oh my gosh, the Sacred Oracle deck. Is that the right name? The Oracle Wisdom deck. In that deck, there's the tree that you can see the leaves above and the roots below. And that's what this card reminds me of. The pillar. And that the beautiful face that stands with the strength of the pillars. I don't know that I've noticed her face before. Take risk. I'm sure the mountain goat means something. Boundaries. Higher perspective. Play with the dolphins. The Weaver, which is very similar to the backs of the cards. Dare to dream, with the talon around the diamond. The Sage. The Alchemist. Power. That's a big bear. The Revolutionary. Self-love. The Sovereign. That's a beautiful card. That's a powerful card. Shadow. The Creator. Love. The Seeker. Nature. The Warrior. The Wildling. With the braid that's been cut. Ascension. Get creative. Manifest. The Void. This has always been one of my favorites. Soul Work. There was a time when I drew this one quite a lot in single card draws. Connect to heart. The Observer. With herself as the center of attention. the explorer, patience, speak truth, the universe, versatility, the gold on this one is serious, trust. Like these last few have been, the gold has really stood out because the lines are more simple. Movement, surrender. So this one, there's so much gold, it's hard to see what's behind the tree. It appears to be just a storm. So we have a weeping willow in front of a stormy sky. Ask, body. So I see this card and I think about the embodied messenger, the embodied card that came up in the, I'm losing all of the names of cards today. In the Inner Star Oracle reading, this reminds me of the guidance card we had from that reading. Get wild. Share wisdom with the badger. Compassion with all of the jewels and the flower adornments hanging off of the antlers of the skull. It's a beautiful card. Transmutes. Paradox. And such a beauty. Reclaim. I mean, a cat with a crystal crown. Does it get much better? So I will offer us a 3-card reading. My view of the cards, that they're here to offer reflection, to offer a challenge in our perspective. I do not throw cards as a way to predict or tell the future. I think in the same way that a conversation with a good friend can challenge our perception, can challenge our awareness, can challenge our thinking. I believe the cards can serve a similar role, to just offer a different perspective, a different way of thinking. These cards really like each other and they're hard to shuffle. They fan shuffle, rifle shuffle. What's this called? They do this thing really well. But this overhanded thing, they need like, they need a little bit of help to shuffle this way. So as I shuffle, I think of us as individuals. I think of us as a collective. And I trust that you are watching this at the correct time for you. I trust that there will be room for new perspective in whatever time you're watching this. I trust that there's room for reflection for each of us, and maybe, just maybe, an epiphany for one of us as a motorcycle goes by. All right, friends, so let's go to the guidebook. Let's see how this works. So for who we are today, a cat just ran over my foot, we have sacred sexuality. So let's see, flip through, see where this shows up. So who we are today. Our sexual self and sexual energy is such a layered and potent part of who we are. It can show us our wounds. It can provide healing. It can help us manifest. It can teach us boundaries and can fuel and empower us. This does not mean that your sexual presence or expression needs to look a certain way. It simply means that your sexuality is sacred as it is. Horses. Horse is a great traveler, can travel up to 40 miles a day, can support us as we travel, explore, and learn about ourselves. The rose is the flower on this card. Hi, Herschel. Sometimes our wounds can manifest as not knowing our worth. We may accept too little for others, seeking connection in the wrong places. The rose can be a beautiful teacher in reclaiming ourselves. See, this is kind of all over the place, right? Then there's talk about rejecting parts of ourselves because what we assume from gender roles, and men shouldn't be emotional. You'll never find a man if you continue to be so opinionated. So looking at all of these energies that we lean into, there's a lot going on in the guidebook. So here's what I see when I see this card. What strikes out to me is embracing ourselves as we are, right? Letting ourselves be present as is in our heart, whether that's with our gender expression, with our sexuality, with our stance on a variety of different things, using the power of the horse to support us, to ground us, to know that our feet will get us where we need to go, to know that we can trust our path, that we're not alone on our path. With the rose as the reminder to know our worth. So not taking less from others. See, there's a lot in the guidebook. But who we are today, this is a reminder that who we are, what's in our heart is valid, and that we can lean into and trust what it is we feel in our hearts and make our presentation match how we feel inside. Whether that's an expression of our sexuality, our gender, or, a dozen other identities in our lives. What's crossing our path is the Alchemist. And the cat's into something over there. Let's start over. Herschel, what are you doing? Haha. The Alchemist card. So the first spot is who we are presently. The second card is what's crossing our path, what the invitation is as we continue through our life's journey. This card reminds me of when Alanis Morissette cut her hair off. I think of that every time I see this. So there's something about this card that's very Alanis Morissette to me. The Alchemist card indicates a time of metamorphosis. It's a call to view everything in your current life as an opportunity for growth. Right now is a potent time to plant the seeds of what you want to invite in. It is also a reminder that our thoughts are incredibly powerful. We may not feel like we have a lot of control over our lives, but we can work hard at changing our thought patterns to ones that empower us. The Alchemist is able to transmute whatever is given. You may have a handful of bad ingredients, but you can take that and make magic with what you have. It can be a long process, but hold your vision. And see that one, so this card had the flower and the horse, and this one has none of that. It's just a bizarre guidebook. But so who we are is who we are, right? What's crossing our path is the invitation to take what we have and make what we need out of it. To examine our thoughts, to see if our thoughts are in line with our dreams, and if not, shift our thoughts. This is the power. So the sacred sexuality is a reminder of that who you are is valid, right? The Alchemist is a reminder that you have what you need to do whatever you want. Even though it may not be today, even though it may not be tomorrow, even though the path may be hard, again, your desire, your plan for yourself is valid. And then the guidance for this is get creative. So who we are, ourselves are valid. What's crossing our path is our dreams are valid. And then how we remind ourselves of this validity is to get creative. And, you know, I've done all of these card draws today. I've done all of these tours, the first 10, just like just straight in a row. And the amount of times that creativity has come up today is shocking to me. So there's value in this. We're being pulled really strongly today into the space of creativity. And this is another one that has an animal, a flower, and a crystal. So this had all three, this has nothing, and this, we have all three again here with the creativity. To be human is to be creative, but it is easy to lose sight of this. From a young age, we absorb cultural stigma around the arts and creativity. It's impractical. It should take a back seat to more lucrative pursuits. Creativity brings flow to life. Creativity finds openings. It provides inspiration. Creativity is a way of life, not an activity. So that's what I'm going to stick with for the reading, that the way that we continue to ground in our own validity as a person, as a soul, and the way that we continue to ground in the validity of our dreams is to be creative, is to not put ourselves in a box, to continue to search and play and to not take ourselves too seriously. Your creativity could be colored pencils and a Golden Girls coloring book. It could be something with yarn. It could be something with paint. It could be dancing. It could be singing. It could be a ukulele. Just getting your creativity, getting your creative energy flowing in any way will allow that creativity, that flow to then lean over, to fall over into your hopes and dreams, and to fall over into how you express yourself and your own identity. So letting creativity here, I'm going to stack them like this because creativity is the key. Creativity is how we lean into and grow our dreams, and how we lean into and grow our identity. But just for purpose of the tour, I want to read some more from the guidebook. So the Crow teaches us how to approach our current life with a creative edge. The Crow has a keen eye for problem solving and innovative ways to meet their needs. They've been known to make their own tools. So the Crow is an ally in meeting your current situation with a creative outlook. Did I turn too many pages? I did. So we have the Iris here. The Iris teaches us how to use our feelings as a gateway to artistic expression. So here we do have the Iris that continues to booster this creativity. And the crystal for this is orange calcite, which I guess is here behind the Iris, even though the card is blue. Orange calcite is like a ray of sunshine that can pierce through all stagnancy and reinvigorate our passion for life. It's helpful when we have childhood wounds around creativity. Orange calcite is our friend when we have limiting beliefs. So a lot of words in the guidebook, but the crux of this reading is presently we're aware of who we are. We're being invited to consider our dreams as important. And then the pathway to connect and grow both of these is our own creativity. I hope that if you read intuitively in any capacity, that you don't let the guidebook scare you away from these cards. I don't use it. If I do, I use just like, if I need a little bit of guidance, I'll just use the first section. I don't look into the symbology of the flower or the animal or the crystal. I just look at the meaning of the card. But it's open for you to use as little or as much of the information from the guidebook as you would like. But again, don't let the complicated guidebook scare you away, because this deck is truly beautiful. Thank you so much for hanging out with me as we did this tour this week. If you would like to work with me one-on-one, there are several different ways. The Still is my online wellness studio where we get to know ourselves better through gentle yoga, breathwork, meditation, tapping, and learning about yoga philosophy and the chakras. I do a 3-card reading in our Instagram group for us there each and every day. The other way to get involved with me is I do new and full moon circles at the end of I send distance Reiki during that ceremony, and we each get an individual card draw at the end. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of my favorite decks, and if you have another reading on these cards, if they mean something different to you, I would love to have that, to have your insight in the comments. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.